Good. Hello, Chris. Hi.
Hello.
Yeah,
How
we talked before, but now we start. And yeah, I'm really happy and glad, and I feel honored that we now have this conversation. We met 2 years ago um, in Chiang Mai, where I just stood into a hostel, and you came by. You passed by with a scooter, and you smiled at me and said, "Wow, is this not beautiful here?" And yeah, this was a crazy moment where we met. And
Yeah.
I felt really nice connected to you. I met you sometimes at gigs and saw you at certain times in Chiang Mai, and you kept always in my mind. And when I now traveled to Thailand, yeah, I started to connect with you again, and we had again a wonderful communication about life, about processes, about consciousness, and yeah, I'm I'm happy to share this in this communication with you.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. It's an honor to talk to you. When you start awakening, you go through your processes of losing old friends, but gaining new beautiful friends.
Yeah.
And and it's really wonderful when you meet a stranger who you immediately connect with, but you don't know why.
Yeah,
It
this
just
is really magical. Yeah.
yeah, it's like the conversation very quickly goes into something very quickly into very special communication.
Yeah, it's a magic moment. And uh, it's funny that you say that because many times people say to me, "Whoa, you don't know me that good," or "How can you say this about someone because you don't know him so much?" So there is still the thinking that you have to know somebody over years to get close to him. But yeah, as you said, in my experience, when you yeah you just can connect, and then you already know someone. Yeah.
Yeah, and the more you know yourself, the more you know everyone, right? Because everyone is underneath all of those layers, underneath all of those programs, underneath all of those beliefs and structures is the same being, the same person, the same energy. What I do when I meet people, I'm trying to figure out how quickly I can get under those layers to find the real spark of them. You understand?
Yeah. What do you mean with the real spark?
Like what? Obviously, in how do I put it into terms? And Ramdas, right?
Hmm.
The wonderful Ramdas, spiritual leader, teacher. He talks about the 5 levels of consciousness, and in everyday interaction, when I'm about in my life in England, and
Hmm.
I'm walking around speaking to shopkeepers and bus drivers and people I work with and clients and my wife and all of these different people in my life, I'm gauging what level of communication I can have with them. Yeah.
Hmm.
So sometimes I meet someone like yourself, and we go very quickly into higher channels of communication. So we go to channel 3 and then maybe channel 4, and then we're kind of like playing with spiritual conversations where there are topics about the soul and God and oneness and connection and how amazing it is to be alive, and that we're having this experience and we're so grateful, and there's a lot of like higher energy conversation. where there's just love, and then you go back into society and you have these conversations, and then you have to play the society game, which is to have lower conversations, not lower or higher in regards to better, but just different levels of communication. And you have to just sit at different levels with different people. And then what I do is I just test the water to see if I can take it to the next step, if I can just take it to the next level, if I can get someone to discuss something that's a little bit deeper than what they're comfortable with. And some people like that, and we fall very deeply into a conversation, which is really wonderful. And some people don't like that, and they move away from those conversations. But it was really wonderful meeting you in the hostel, because it was within a few seconds we were talking about like just how amazing life was, being in Chiang Mai, and the weather was so beautiful, and we were just really appreciative of the moment that we had. So it was lovely.
Yeah, I think it depends also on how free you can be in the moment. Are you really stuck in your drama, in your things that catch you and that bring you away from yourself? Yeah, are you not open? Do you have fear? Are you in some kind of stressy situation? Do you have problems with trust? And there are very, very much issues, I think, where with this depends on. And you, as you said, when you came over many of those issues, it's more easier to connect and to go really deep. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, and I find that quite recently, what I've been able to do while talking to other people is because of my level of acceptance for myself, and just feeling comfortable within who I am becoming, or who I am as an energetic entity, as a consciousness, without the labels of the mind. What I'm able to do now is when I speak to someone, it's almost like the entire world disappears, and all I am doing is just paying such attention to this person speaking in front of me that it's so wonderful. It's almost like a channel has been opened, and I'm just receiving them in such a wonderful way that I'm just really, really, really listening to them and really having that moment. And it makes me feel so wonderful. It makes me feel so wonderful when there's just this aligned, I don't even know how to explain it. It's really incredible. And you can do that with someone who is very highness, who is very aware of themselves, like yourself. But you can also do it, that same listening, that same presence, you can do on very low level consciousness beings, as people as well. And they really appreciate that focus, that energy, that presence, where you can see them, you can see it in their face that they're being listened to, really being listened to. And it's almost therapeutic or healing to receive that information, to receive that level of concentration. It's wonderfully kind of like magic almost to describe it.
Yeah, I think it was really a great gift. As I remember in my childhood, I had a long time to struggle because I had not really somebody who I could talk to with deeper conversations. There was none who, as you tell me now, who just gives the focus on me and stays just with me, and I can I can be, and I can put everything out what is inside of me. Yeah. And this listening to, and yeah, just bring out everything. Still so much anxiety in the community to speak out what is really going on, and we got used to it, not to say what is going on in the moment. Where we are like yeah, as I said, these patterns, you have to act like this. When you know someone, you just ask these questions. You see they suffer, or they are sad, but you don't tell it because it's not the right environment to say something like this. But
Yeah.
if it would, and everybody would do it, there would be not so much suffering, because all the energies would be free floating. They could come out. They are not holding on into the body, into this system. It's not that you would feel guilty or ashamed that you have it.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's when you identify someone who is in a lot of pain, and you can see it in their face, in their body language, and in their speech. It's almost as if we have to pretend like everything is okay. And we have to empathize, and compassion arises in not saying anything. It's almost like when we don't mention their pain or their trauma, and just listen to what they have to say, it's like it allows them to feel accepted. It allows them to feel listened to and valuable. As soon as you mention something, the mind will tighten. Depending on how you speak, and depending on how you can word. But everyone, I've learned that everyone is on their own path, at their own speed, at their own, in their own way, in their own expression. And that the people who I help the most are the people who are seeking help. Mm-hmm. People who are asking for help, people who are realizing that they're depressed or have anxiety or have trauma. And when they come out of that, when they finally seek help, that's when they're really, really ready to receive help, to receive teaching or guidance or love or a cuddle or something. But you can't speak it until someone is ready. So we just walk around seeing all of this pain and just observing it, really, and just sending everyone love that I see in the street, I see in coffee shops, I see them at work. And you can only be an inspiration or a guide. Do you understand? Like, yeah. This kind of, just like lead by example, in a way. And it's really wonderful to have that. I want to just quickly talk to you about your spiritual experiences. How old are you, Vito?
I'm 27.
You're 27.
Yeah.
And how long have you considered yourself to be on a spiritual experience, like an awakening?
I would say my whole life.
Right.
Different like states of seeing things, of how to interact with inner processes and outer worlds. But yeah. My whole life was a process as itself. And
yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Was there a time where, obviously there's multiple stages and multiple realizations all the way through this experience, and would you consider your family to be a conscious family on some level?
On some level, of course, yeah. So my family here, where I was born into, yeah, you know, they were like hippies when they were young, and like punks, and they had to struggle with their parents out of the Second World War and
Yeah.
stuff like this, and they had other issues to transform in their life. And I'm sure we all go through this whole process, yeah, of everything who can be level upped and transformed in higher consciousness. But it's just a fact that I had not to deal with so hard issues like my parents.
Yes.
And yeah, they handled their spirituality or their consciousness different as I do now. But they did. They wanted to treat her son completely different as their parents did. They did not want that I go to church, or I, yeah, have to do something, or yeah, they only love me because I do something special. So this was still very, yeah, a very, yeah, uncommon relationship in my family. Yeah.
Okay. That's nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's really uncommon is unique.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it's uncommon. It's such a thing. Yeah, you say this is normal and this is crazy, but the normal things are sometimes more crazy than the crazy things, and the crazy things seem to be more normal than the. Yeah, so when you take a look at in every family who you could say from the outside, oh, they are very common or normal, you will find very, very crazy things going on there.
It's true. I during this the last 5 years in particular, and I now look back and I see that I've always been waking up from the moment I was born until this very moment. There have been amazing differences in my character to how I was perceiving the rest of England and Britain. And I always had this, my whole life, I always had this rebellious, I don't want to do what everyone else is doing. And I just challenged the teachers, I challenged my parents, I challenged the government, I challenged the police, I challenged the Queen, I challenged everything. I was just,
Yourself.
as soon as I was born,
Uh-huh.
I was almost resisting everything, because I've always knew that this place was crazy, but I never knew it. I never realized it until very late on, until I was 30, and I had an aha moment, a very, very profound moment where I became self-aware.
And what was this moment? What happened there?
I was living in London. I had a very corporate job. I was working for a corporation. I was married. I had a really good job and a nice place to live, and it was all going very well. And then one day I was on a bicycle at 6 o'clock in the morning, cycling through London, and it started raining. And it started raining and it started raining, and I didn't have a jacket, and my shirt was getting wet. And I couldn't take whatever pressure I had put myself through. and I just couldn't take it anymore, and I started crying. And I sat down on a big step with my home, and I quit my job, and I left me and my wife separated within a few days, and I became that I had thoughts, that I wasn't the thought. I became the thoughts became separate from me, and I started watching my thoughts, watching like what is happening. I thought I was going crazy. I thought I was losing. I thought I was losing everything: my wife, my job. So I moved home to my mother's house, and then I sold my house and gave the money to my ex-wife and kept the money. And then from that moment on, I became really curious to what was happening to me. And yeah, that was 6 years ago. But up until that point, I was always quite a creative, free-thinking person, quite fun and energetic. But I had a lot of aggression.
Mm-hmm.
I was very, very aggressive. And the last 6 years has just been me getting rid of aggression, getting rid of resentment, getting rid of depression, getting rid of anxiety, just going and doing the work. Every day, every second of every day is devoted to purification, is devoted to becoming the one infinite creator, just becoming whatever it is I can expand to in this life, in this experience, then that's what I want to do in this life. I want to expand, I want to evolve, I want to grow. And the journey of doing that is fun. It's also a lot of pain, and it's a lot of fun, and it's a lot of pain, and it's a lot of enjoyment and pleasure and expansion, but there's also a lot of shadows, a lot of shadow work to be done.
Yes.
So I enjoy the expansion, but I also enjoy the shadow. I also enjoy the shadow work. Even when I'm crying, even when I'm in pain, even when I'm hurting, even when my cells of my skin are aching, even when I'm crying out ancestral pain, like deep-rooted pain of my family, it's sometimes hours and hours and hours of crying. Underneath all of it, there is pleasure, there is joy, there is a tiny sliver of progress. There is a tiny sliver of this is why I'm here, to enjoy this process, to enjoy the unfolding of what it is that we are as consciousness, as God, as divinity. And to realize that this vessel, this human vessel, and the mind and the body are just instruments through which we express our divinity. And it's not always pleasant, and it's not always fun and happy and joyful. Sometimes it can be quite uncomfortable and quite painful. But even that pain and discomfort is still a wonderful experience from the perspective of God, from the perspective of the higher self. Even pain is an experience, which I am grateful for. So the last 6 years has been incredibly insightful and wonderful, and I wouldn't change one single thing. It's just incredible.
So you were the classical guy who had everything in the outside, and yeah, but something was wrong. There was a moment where the internet connection was very, very bad. So I think I did not really understand what completely was going on in you. But you, as I understood you, on the outside of society, you had everything. You had a job, you had a wife, you had a good living situation, but something was wrong. Something was not, and you could not explain it really what it was, but you had to go on search for it. What is going on?
Yeah,
This is right.
the idea. Yeah, you're right. The idea of spirituality as a lifestyle wasn't in my life at all. There was a lot of drinking. There was a lot of drugs. There was just normal society things that we do when we have high jobs and good money and cars and houses and wives and stuff like that. I did a 180-degree turn, and it was just I have a lot of determination and a lot of strength, and if I'm going to do something, I just do it 100%. I don't. I just like going hard, like go hard, but I also want to test what I'm capable of. What am I capable of? What is possible for me? And those questions always resonate inside me. So whenever I'm doing something, I want to see if I can do it fully, and not just like the idea of it, but really go and dedicate myself to this calling. And it's like in my chest, I have something pulling me. There's like an invisible energy pulling me towards something, and I just have to keep heading towards that thing. And I know when I'm in alignment because I feel amazing. I'm just on top of the world. And I know when I'm off because I don't feel good, and my emotions are off, or my mind is not having a nice time, or the relationships are toxic, or I'm doing the wrong thing. And then when I correct it, I feel great again. So it's always about correcting all the time, every day, sometimes 10 times a day. I'm going through a process at the moment about why I manifested on this planet.
What? Why do you?
Why did I manifest on this planet at this time?
Okay. And what did you? What came? What was your insight?
I feel like my purpose on this planet at this time is to bring light, like a light bearer, and to share any teaching, to share any insight or wisdom or teaching, or to share anything that could possibly raise the vibration of this planet in any way.
Hey, Brian.
Hey. And I would love to know what your insight is. What do you feel like if you've contemplated this concept about what your direction is at this time?
My journey in self-realization got a super booster last year when I received a very strong insight. I would call it my wake-up call, where I realized after 40 days of extreme meditation and Kundalini yoga practice, fasting, etc., that I can do so many experiences and meet different people and have relationships and can try out myself in exploring whatever. But when I don't know who I am and what my purpose is and what the meaning of life is, yeah, I cannot go in deep. And this came to me. This was like, whoa, crazy! Now I got it. But wow, where is the answer? Where's the answer? Nobody has the answer really. Okay, everybody is telling you, but it's like a tiny bit of something. You know, it's not everything. Is what God, and then you go into this church and it's so cold and nobody is there, not heartful, and then you do yoga and you do all these practices and you ask yourself, yeah, is this now self-realization when you all do these practices and everything is a little bit. And then came at the next day came a woman. I asked a woman who I lived with. I told her about these questions I got, and she said, oh no, this connection a little bit. Do you hear me? Ah, there you are. Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And she said,
hello.
I have to show you someone coming who has answers to all those questions. And then started the journey with my wife. That's how I got to learn my wife. And she was also on a crazy conscious trip, on a conscious journey, and we went together deeper and deeper, and we got to know. We made travels through our incarnations and through knowledge far beyond what you can read in books. Yeah, and maybe you know the movie Cloud Atlas. There is shown that all the souls come together through different eras and meet again to fulfill a big soul plan. Yeah, where everything is integrated, where there is no war, no anxiety, no pain, where everybody is completely free. Yeah, and they want to build up a new society. And we came to know that we are souls who are traveling through time, and we met again, and all the time in Egypt, in Greece, in everywhere, we tried to complete this soul plan. We wanted to enlarge our consciousness, to get enlightened, and to create something new, what has never been before. Because now we are on the lowest part of evolution. We went through all this cutting and diversity and go out, and now is the time where we integrate this again, where we get realized of this processes which were going on, and we integrate, and now it's the first time in history of all our incarnations of our souls that this can be possible in future. So we had to come, that this is our purpose, to bring this family of souls again together, as you said, to higher the vibration, to higher the consciousness, to free all layers and patterns which we brought with us through all time as a soul family, and fusion to something completely new.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was amazing.
Please. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we came to know that we all are embodied gods. It's not that God is in everything, and everyone is the same God. We know exactly which parts of evolution someone took with him. It's like a big puzzle where everyone fits at the right place, and at the end, it's a big picture.
Yeah. It's like we're all fragments of
Yeah,
God, but we all have different levels of power. We all have different levels of insight. We have different levels of magic, and all of those things are coalescing together. And the more we're able to communicate and to share and to unify and to join together when everyone is ready to do that, um, it's like droplets of water joining a puddle,
yeah,
and all of and the puddle is getting bigger and the energy is growing, but all of these droplets are coming together. And once they've joined together, they can't be separated. They're integrated into each other,
yeah,
and that is wonderful. That is the why um, I'm having this. I'm having a very profound experience at the moment where I'm starting to see the outside world,
hmm,
um, trees, people, cars, the planet, the entire universe as I think I understood it intellectually for a long time, but I'm starting to really to feel that it could possibly be some kind of projection. And this has been a really wonderful couple of months for me, and that I'm starting to see differences in my perception, and that how how I'm not taking the projection too. Uh, it's still important, and it still has a very important aspect in the existence of this experience. Um, but I'm slowly coming to the realization that it is just a projection, and that my consciousness is projecting this. And you're like, yeah, 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 yeah.
oh, it's so crazy what is going on, really. It's really people who we meet also say, oh wow, this is hard tobacco. Like this. Yeah, yeah, it's really it is like this. It's like a big dream we dreamed. um
It is a dream, yeah. It's a dream, and I know we talk about matrix and holographic realities, and that's okay to describe, but that still doesn't describe what it really is. It's incredibly magical. Uh, it's like uh, it's like the most sophisticated, beautiful dream you could ever imagine. Like, and you are imagining it. Essentially, it is an imagination. Um,
but not all the time, huh? It was also what's the word in English when you have a bad dream?
a nightmare.
A nightmare. Yeah, sometimes it was also a nightmare. It gets more and more like a nice dream.
It does get more and more like a nice dream, and I
Yeah.
think we're all born. I was born into a nightmare, and I'm slowly coming into the nice dream. Like, wow, it's a beautiful dream. Like,
Yeah.
that is, it is wonderful. It's a. I'm starting to realize as well. I read this really beautiful book on Zen Buddhism,
Mhm.
and now I see it as true, which is every human expression is a blade of grass, and that all the blades of grass are different. All the blades of grass are perfect. There's no blade of grass that is imperfect. They're all perfect. Everything is perfect. Even the human mind likes to label things good and bad, and up and down, and left and right, and black and white. And but when you get out of that and you shake off the mind, then you just see divinity. You just see perfection everywhere, everywhere. Even homeless people, even drug addicts, even murderers, even rapists, everyone in a very strange way is perfect in their own way. And it's very difficult for society to accept that. And as I live currently in a society and I'm surrounded by energy, like British energy everywhere. It's like coming home was like me just challenging myself. It's such a interesting environment to evolve in, because I'm just bombarded with marketing and people and energy, people's energy everywhere. And it's all affecting your emotions and your mind and your thoughts and your perception. And to really stay true, to stay honest, to stay pure, to stay in that vibration of bliss, you have to be strong. You have to really practice the meditation. You have to practice the yoga. You have to practice the breathing. You have to really center yourself as often as you can, as often as you can, as often as you can. Because if you don't practice, you're all over the place. You get lost in the illusion. You get lost in the thoughts and the feelings and the people and the circumstances and the situations. And then you have to recenter yourself and recenter yourself and recenter yourself. And it's this
But it's
game.
also always a mirror. It's always a mirror. And when you have what's it called, a resonation, it says that you have a thematic with it. And this is also, as you said, you love the process. Sometimes it's like, oh no, I am feeling again like this, and with this situation, such fucked up. I don't want this. But when you negate it, when you don't want it, it comes again. It comes again and again and again, till you really faced it and you went through what the issue is about.
Yeah. And some days I only see what I prefer, and some days I'm just God. I'm just loving everything, and everything is love, and I'm happy and I'm joyful, and I'm just so happy and in that state of oneness that nothing is affecting me. I am just creating and creating and creating and creating and creating. And then the days where I'm just not like that. And this cycle of like up and down, it's just this never ending like roller coaster of enjoyment and confusion. But at the same time, there's still an overall growth. So although we're going up and down, there's like this up and down that's still going up. And it is stunning. I didn't think this was possible. I would have never have thought this was how I was going to live this incarnation. And I'm so excited and grateful, and that I'm still so young and passionate, and I still have loads of time on this planet to express myself and to help others and to inspire people and to empower people and to teach people and to try and raise this vibration of this holographic universe as much as I can while I'm here. Just like even right now having this conversation, we're just pulsating energy into the universe.
Yeah.
Another thing that I really love is once I started identifying with energy instead of physical and mental, I started to feel the sensation of there's no distance between you and me. So the energy that is animating your consciousness now, the awareness that is behind consciousness, is the same awareness that is behind my consciousness. It's not just presence, it's the awareness that is aware of presence. It's effortlessness, it's all-pervading awareness. And that when I get into a state in meditation of just sheer beauty and bliss and happiness and just sure, I feel like the distance between me and another person is there's no physical distance. So although you're in Thailand and I am in England, when we're communicating,
Yeah.
the energy, there's no distance in energy.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? It's instant. It's happening at the same time in the same space.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's what's the word, like quantum physics?
Yeah, the quantum field.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is how long are you on Koh Phangan or Koh Samui?
I'm here since 3.5 weeks, and 2 more weeks. And yeah, it was a wonderful time. And we say all the time, life is like a big game. And also the matrix, or this illusion, this dream, was designed as a big game to play out our roles, to play out the the unfreed thematics. And it's really funny. At the beginning, we were like, we came from a really intensive time where we had like a transformation boot camp all the time, bam, bam, bam. And we were so touched from these energies that we were all the time like put into new energies and put into new processes. And we had not so much will to do it from our will. Yeah, it was like we got shaped in it, bam, bam. And here's like we had also a lot of intensive time here, but the more and more we are here, it's like, wow, breathing. It's like there is I have my own will to what I want to change. There's so much freed already inside of me that there is no big drama anymore, no big issues, small things. And I can watch the outside as the big resonation of it. It's such an obvious game, you know, that we talk about an issue, and it's like, oh, like a response from the game, this is right. And then we are in a restaurant and the music turns on, da 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 da, and the person we were talking to, someone similar comes into the theater like this. Yeah, it's it's really funny, and it makes more and more fun. As you said, the nightmare becomes a great dream. Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah,
and realizing that you're creating the dream as well.
yeah,
Like, you are the creator of the dream. It's not just a dream that's happening to you. It's not just we're in a dream and it's happening. You're actually creating the dream. You are the creator of this illusion, of this dream. And that brings a lot of power. It brings a lot of, like, what is possible?
yeah.
What is possible? Like, it's been a really wonderful 6 months for me being back in England. It's been quite brutal, but it's been quite a wonderful experience.
So why did you decide to come back to England?
We came back to England for money purposes. I needed to do some investments.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a lot of opportunity here in regards to networks and business people, because England is like the home of capitalism. Like, if there was any place on earth, it's the mothership of capitalism. And understanding, do you know what I mean? And I've also money aside, I understand that that money is energy, and it can flow into in and out of your life, and it can come in and help not only yourself, your business situation, but it can also help others. You can give it and give it. And I feel like I want to make a lot of money in order to build foundations and charities, and to have a lifestyle where I can fly all over the world and I can help others and do retreat centers. And in order to do those things, I need to learn how to communicate in business.
Mm-hmm.
I need to learn how to communicate in kind of like social situations. And I wasn't given those tools as a child. I wasn't taught how to communicate effectively. I was always very closed and very, and I've come here to do that. This is my time to do this thing. And however long it takes is how long it takes. But that's what I need to do. Because I have an idea that once I make a lot of money, I help people like yourself. Like I've met hundreds of beautiful people on this beautiful planet who want to do wonderful things for wonderful reasons. And they need money to do that because we live in this space time. They need financing, they need investment, and they need those things. And it might not be me who's doing all of those things. It might just be me giving the money, the foundations and the charities to help others, to feed, to shelter, to heal. And that's a direction I have to go in. So that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not interested in being a millionaire. I'm not interested in having a Lamborghini or a house. I'm not interested in any of that stuff. I want to just, all the money I make, I want to give to other people, to help other people. Like, that's it. That's all I want to do. And just bring people together. So like fly people to a location for a reason. Fly people to a location for a reason. Get people together for a reason. And all of that takes money. So part of my journey is to accumulate finances. Somehow. I don't know how that's going to happen, but I'm just heading in the direction that I need to go in.
Yeah. You start the way and the way appears. Yeah. Oh, it's a big
That's
deal.
right. You just
we talked about it the last time, and it's a phenomenon which goes through through all the system that people who have the focus on their insides, on their feelings, most of them don't have much money. Yeah, so this is an issue. What would you say? What is the reason for this? So when you say you are already now in the process, but do you have some insights? What could conscious people help to grow their money set, their consciousness for money? Why it is like this?
So as far as I can gather, it's poverty consciousness and prosperity consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And these two they're different ways of perceiving yourself and perceiving money. What is your relationship with money? And your relationship with money was given to you when you were born. Like those programs of how you spent money and received money, it could have been something like your dad telling you that you had to work for money.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want 10 euros, you have to go and clean the car. So then all these people are cleaning the car, and then they get 10 euros from their dad. This is poverty consciousness, because the belief is that we have to work to collect money. That's a belief. I know a lot of wealthy people, and they never do that to their children. They would never, ever tell their children to work for money. Never. You don't need to work to get money.
What
You
do you
need to
have to
think.
do for money?
You have to think about something that you believe in. What do you believe in? And then create a product or service in the world. So you create a product and a service. I am offering something that I am able to do. And then you invest in marketing, or you just go into the world with your product and your service, and you say, I am this thing and I want to be paid for it. I am worth this. I am worth £5 million for this coaching job. I am worth £20,000 for this. And your belief, your level of belief in yourself will attract that money. If you go into the world with a belief that you're worth 10,000 euros for one coaching session, and you know that you will get results, you will start attracting clients who have that money. You will start attracting people who have £10,000 to spend on coaching. But if you don't believe it, and you're questioning your self-worth, and you're questioning all given these misconceptions, we were given these old, we're not good enough. We have to work for money. We have to move our bodies physically to collect money. And that's very, very low consciousness, low. And that's what I've been doing most of my life. I've been working a job. And now I'm not fucking working a job. Even if I start only making 100 euros a month, and I have to live in a small cardboard box in a forest, I'm going to start from somewhere, and I'm going to start believing and believing and believing. And the way that you believe is by conditioning yourself to believe. No one else is going to make you believe in yourself other than yourself. You have to. No one's going to do it. So I'm always, every single day, I'm doing mirror work, looking in the mirror, doing push-ups, going to the gym, affirmating, singing, believing, punching the air, whatever it takes to build and create and pull myself out of the old and into the new every single day. Every day, every day, every day. There's nothing else to do. There's nothing else to do. There's nothing else to do. That's the only thing to do. That's the only thing to do. It's the only thing to do. It's the only thing to do. And yeah, and that's all there is to do. Because if you don't, then when you're 87 and you're dying in your deathbed, you'll say, fuck, I wish I'd done something different. And then you have all of these little regrets and these things you should have done. And I don't want any of those. I only want to, and I'm also not in a rush. In the realization of the self, in the realization of the incarnational cycle, there is no rushing. There's no desire to, I must have this thing. Whatever I achieve in this incarnation is just what I achieve in this incarnation. Whatever I bring to this life is what I bring to this life. I'm not in a rush to achieve anything. I'm just every day, every day, every day, every hour, every minute, every day, working towards your goal, working towards this thing that can manifest quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker. The more you do the work, the more you do the work, the more you do the work. And we get 24 hours in a day. And I'm just thinking about investments, and I read a book on manifestation, or I read a book about development. Just something every day, every day, every day. And you start seeing such big changes in your relationships, in your bank account, in the way that you act, the way that you stand, the way that you speak, the way that you present information. The person I am today is not the person I was 5 years ago. Because of the books, because of the reading, because of the gym, because of the yoga, because of the meditation, because of the never-ending input into my consciousness, into my brain, into my body, the smoothies, the cacao, the ayahuasca, the LSD, the marijuana, the cannabis, the mushrooms, the whatever I could do. Let's do this. Let's do this. Like, because, you know, like, and even if I don't ever speak to another human being, I'm still raising my vibration of the earth. I'm still raising my vibration of the earth. I'm still raising my vibration of the earth. I'm still impacting the earth in energy. So yeah, it's money is just energy. And if you get money and you keep it, money doesn't like to be stored. It doesn't like to be kept. It has to flow. It has to be in a constant flow. So as soon as you get money, you should be giving it away. Take a little bit for yourself and invest and look after yourself and pay your bills and have a house and a car, but give the rest of it away. Give it to someone who needs it. And then money will start really loving you and really understanding you, and your relationship with money will become flowy. And you'll get it and you give it away, and you get it and you give it away. And you're just moving money around, moving into bank accounts and people. And then the money starts building. And you're like this game, this amazing game of balancing your books, they call it. But because if you're low consciousness and you're in a state of survival, and you get the money and you keep it for yourself, money will just...
I could lose it.
Yeah, like, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. And I was like that for 30 years. 30 years, I just wanted to make money. I needed to survive, you know, like, and that's not necessary, because we're not the body and we're not the mind, you know. We have a body and we have a mind, but it's not, we are infinitely rich. And it's wonderful.
Cup con cup. Thank you very much. Yeah, this was a great speech about money. We could use this interview for so many inputs of something. And yeah, thank you very much. This was very inspiring also in my process right now. As I told you before, I am now in the process of building a website up, and to be honest, I was working all my life, as you described, for someone else to keep money, and thought I'm not so worthy, and it's not such a big deal what I give or what I can give, and it's nothing special, it's common, and things like this. And especially in the last years, I made a big, yeah, like a turbo, like a super booster of this, as you described your past 6 years. And yeah, this really helped me a lot, Chris, to put the focus on what is now important for me before I, not before, when, yeah, when I'm creating the next days, when I'm doing things, when I'm exploring, I put so great experiences and so great insights where millions of people could grow with it. But it's really, as you said, this feeling, this inner feeling, and this this belief in your vibration that you are worth it. This was really, thank you very much for this input. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And you are priceless.
Yeah.
You're priceless. And the only thing that's stopping you from believing that is a very deep rooted program inside your mind of lack. That you are limited in some way, that you are less than perfect, that you are less than pure gold, that you are less than priceless divinity, which can have $1 trillion or no dollars. You can have €1 billion or no euros. And where you gauge yourself is where you choose to gauge yourself. Now, I have a figure in my mind of 200 million pounds. And I've always had this figure in my head for the last 5 years. And I don't know why it's 200,000,000. And whether I ever achieve 200 million pounds or not is irrelevant. It's just a nice level to have in your consciousness and to really believe that you're worth it. Now, whether I figure out how to make 200 million or I don't, it doesn't matter. But how I feel inside is 200 million. That's my level. I want that money. That money's coming to me. You're coming. Wherever you are, you're coming this way. And it's coming. And when I get it, I'm going to give it. I'm giving it away. I'm giving it to people. And sometimes when you're feeling shit, you're like, oh, that's ridiculous. I have to work a job, blah, blah, blah. And then you're like, fuck that. It's a beneficial way of believing in yourself, is to feel that you're worth an unreal amount of money, like something that is so far out of reality, normal reality, that it pulls you towards it. It pulls you in the direction of it. By saying 1 billion euros, 1 billion euros, you automatically start pulling yourself towards 1 billion euros in consciousness, in energy, in enthusiasm, in passion, in drive, intelligence, in empathy, in compassion, in all of these things start exploding because you've set the target so high and it's so high and ridiculous that you start becoming almost delusional. Everyone else around you thinks you're crazy. Everyone else around you is like, this guy is crazy. He's fucking crazy. But in order to create something in this life, in this manifestation, in this creation, in this projection of extreme value, you have to be crazy. You have to be a little bit nuts, a little bit outside of reality. Like Picasso, like people who Picasso was just painting lines and dots and stuff. And he was like, and people were like, what the hell is this guy doing? This guy's not painting impression art and like real stuff. He's painting like distorted boxes and eyeballs on his head and stuff, as if he was nuts. And his art is now worth billions and billions of dollars because he went, no, I'm doing this, and I'm creating something that no one had ever seen before. So it's almost like, as crazy as you can become, is you could become a visionary. You could be hundreds of years before anyone else. And right now it seems crazy, but in 100 years, people will be like, wow, he's really clever. That guy's really clever.
Happened to mainly all big artists, Van Gogh, everyone like poor people who, what the hell shall I do with this? And years later, wow, this guy was so his time far beyond. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm really inspired by the music of Queen. You know the band Queen, right? Like I've been listening to, as I awaken and I start to really pay attention to lyrics, musical lyrics, I've been listening to Queen every day. Freddie Mercury and Queen are like a band from the future who manifested in the 70s. Their music is one vision, one dream, one goal, one like power. And if you listen to the lyrics of Queen, they're from the future. You should listen to what they're speaking about. It is so unifying and powerful and embracive that you're like, fuck, this guy was brilliant.
I'm right now on the ABBA trip.
I listen to Queen on the way to work, when I'm going to work, and I'm just like, oh, I can achieve anything. Fuck yeah, just like it builds you up, and then you take your headphones off, and then you have that energy all day. all day. The energy of achievement, the energy of progress, the energy of anything is possible. And you can get that through music and poetry and art and all of those beautiful expressions of divinity. It's choose your own adventure, you know.
Hmm. Lovely, Chris.
What are your plans over the next 2 or 3 weeks? What have you got in store?
Yeah, we have this big online program in progress. So it was like we were working in the shadow or hide it, and now we come out. We made interviews, and this is also for me not common to talk with somebody and share this this information in the internet. I did this, but I start to, oh, I want to share, and also like you described this, I want to higher my vibration, the vibration of the people, and I feel a big wave coming out, and also with my wife Petra, we want to write several books. Right here, I am in the apartment of a beautiful, charming man who came the stairs up a few minutes ago, who let me do this interview here, and he is an author. We met him by accident, and we will share our creativity to create some books, to publish them. And yeah, this for that. Also going on in our personal inner journey. This is all the time the case. We figured out that we play out roles of duality, my wife and me. So every big power got splitted, like true love, in love and hate, and the ego is insanity, for example, or truth or lie, something like this. And we make the experience that when we integrate the powers we play out, something big is changing on the outside. We don't have to do so much in the outside to change something. Sometimes it's only changing something inside, and this makes such a big changing. And this was the gift of the last 3 or 4 weeks, that we reached another peak of transformation ourselves with this topic, and healed very, very deep rules of ourself, of dual issues. Everyone is burying with them. We all talk about war or guilty or something like this, and we can reach.
I'm losing you slightly.
Hey, Chris. Okay, I'm losing you too.
All I have is as you can.
Hey.
Hey.
Hello again.
Send you a message on WhatsApp. Where are you?
Okay. So seems like the conversation is and the records starts from.
I can't see you.
You
can you see me?
I can see you.
Okay, let me zoom. Oh yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Yes, we are back. So you were talking about the truth and the lies and the ego and the relationship you had with your wife.
Yeah. You know, we all have these issues with how to deal with things. And as you said, you always try to come back again and center it and go once and whole. And when you are like this, you don't have to face these varieties of duality, as I understood you. And we came to know that this is really designed like a program, and we can deprogram ourselves. And when we come to know that we play out a different role of it, we can change it by the root, that we don't have to consider it anymore because it's a way. And
that's right.
Yeah, this is a crazy new thing that came up like 3 or 4 weeks ago, that we really came to know that we all the time, since we meet, we play out this duality, that she is the part who acts like this because of the brain, and I am that part who always interacts with her like this. And then we realize, okay, well, cross, we play out this break at this part, and always this is the story behind, and then we integrate it. We integrate the right ego, which has it, and it's enough to say it. It's to say, okay, I was playing all the time this, and now I integrate my ego like this, and then it's over. It never shows again. It's really, it's a crazy journey at the moment. Yeah, this is also something that will develop in the next 3 weeks. Yeah.
And it never stops developing, especially when you're in a communication with a partner, with a wife. Like you said to me on the phone, it's another level of the ego, dissolving the ego with a partner is so profound, because you're constantly reminded of your ego. It's like the wife is playing this and you're playing this, and it's like this. But if you're in a conscious relationship, you're able to stop, talk, address, reevaluate, and
come to know that you identify with
the next level, and then the next level.
The crazy thing is that when you are in the energy, Chris?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. What do you want to say?
Yeah. I have to check whether I'm being confident or I'm being narcissistic. You know narcissism? You know narcissistic? Of course. I have to check whether I'm just being confident and truly believing in myself, or I'm being a narcissist.
Do I play the ego, or is she playing the ego?
Yeah. Am I right? Or and it's like this constant checking. I have to check, because sometimes I'm just so passionate and believe and this is, and then I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. And she's like, for fuck's sake. And then sometimes she really believes something, and I really, and she's like, oh, maybe not. Oh, and then we just laugh about our egos, and it's nice when you can laugh about it, but sometimes it's not so pleasant. Sometimes it's quite aggressive and very kind of like really tense, and especially for Dina in particular, bless her with all my heart. She gets very upset and she gets very stressed and worried, and I have to step back. I have to. Can you still hear me?
I can still hear you. Yeah, the picture is a bit Yeah, yeah,
image
now
just
you are
dropped
here
off. It's
anymore.
okay.
But yeah.
I have to, when Dina is very, when, when Dina is very stressed, I have to reset myself back to alignment.
Mm-hmm.
The more I pull back and reset myself, because if she is getting in pain, I can easily be pulled into the pain.
Mm.
So I pull myself back and I center myself. So because it's so easy to start this tug of war, this kind of like backwards
Yeah.
and forwards game. And I don't like playing those games. So I take myself out of the game, and then I come back with a perspective of love, with a perspective of understanding. Because I just know, as soon as you start playing the forwards, it may start very little, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then there is an explosion. And the ego is very clever. It's a very clever device. It's a very clever evolutionary process that we have developed, and it can hijack you and pretend to be you.
Right.
You know, and there's no. You think that you are right or being something, but really you're just it's self-protecting. It's trying to protect you in some way. And the wonderful thing about awakening is to realize that not only do you have an ego, but that you get to love the ego. You get to play with the ego. You get to use the ego and kind of like be in a relationship with the ego. And this has been a really wonderful experience for me to be okay with having an ego. I'm okay with it. It happens. It happens. It happens sometimes. It comes in. It does these things. Yeah. And I'm like, stop it. And then it's okay. And I also, when I act egotistically, I do not give myself a hard time. I do not chastise myself, and I do not create guilt. If I say something and act in a way that is narcissistic or egotistical, and then I realize what I've done, I do not create guilt. I apologize. I say, I'm sorry. I am very sorry for what I've done. And then I forget about it. I forget about it. I don't worry about it. I don't give myself a hard time. I don't beat myself up. I don't, whatever. I'm sorry. Let's continue. Let's continue. Let's continue the work. Let's continue. Let's move forward. Let's move forward. What can we do to move forward? And again, that could be classified as narcissistic, which is me brushing my behavior to the side. But I don't want to feel guilt in this lifetime. Guilt is very destructive. And when I act, I know my intention is of love, and I know my intention is of unity. And sometimes that passion and love comes out in the ego in a wrong way. But after I realized it, I just, okay. And I just clear the windscreen and just keep re-clearing. And I actually then thank my ego. I thank the ego. I say, thank you for, I don't need you anymore. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. And gratitude for the ego, and gratitude for the ego, and gratitude. And it just gets less and less. And some days there is no, there is no identity. I don't identify with anything. It's just observation, observing. And then some days I'm really identified with things, and it's come back and it's all its power, and it's really taking over things. And that's okay as well, because it's perfect. what is what is your relationship with, do you have a practice you do when you are in a situation with your wife that may be becoming quite a lot of tension or frustration? Do you have something that you guys do to help the situation?
It's like, because we open these fields, we open these energetically fields, it's sometimes I feel it more powerful and heavy that it could be for normal couples, because we really open all fields of evolution and look on in everything, and many people arrange themselves and say, okay, he is like this and don't touch this energy, so the energy don't come up. But the energy, as you said, can be really, really destroying, painful, hurting, etc. And my experience is, the more I go into a process and realize that there is no way out of it, and walk away is not an option, and leave the situation or leave the relationship is not an option, because it will appear in your life again and again till you face it. You can stand in the fire and you can say, okay, this is completely shitty and you are hurted and I am an asshole, or the opposite, but I'm here to solve this issue with you. You can make a breakthrough. You can come behind of the issue, and we cleared so many issues. I can't count them. It's, I think, 100,000 of issues hidden in ourselves. We cleared, we purified ourselves, as you said, and with every really strong energy we free, the fight in us when we face again such an energy in us, between us, gets lower. We feel that we have this identity, this energy, but we don't identify complete with it. We don't speak completely out of it. Nowadays we can say, I feel for you hate in the moment, and I know this has no real reason. This is not really real, but I have to tell you because this is an energy floating between us, and I want to overcome this thematic with you. And so we can hold the space with each other. We don't take it personally. We don't feel guilt, as you say, and we can look at it as a sensation between us, and then it goes easier and easier and easier, and we can laugh more and more, and the nightmare becomes more and more a funny dream that we say, why didn't we look at this thematic earlier? This thematic would have changed our life so great when we would have looked at it earlier. But it's a natural process. You can't say, okay, now this. It's like this is coming up, and we always go into the trap of not to want to have the energy, or not to look at it, or to pull it away. But this is not a solution. It always comes back. It always comes back when you don't face it. Yeah.
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 It's really wonderful to hear that that you're having the same experience that Dina and I are having. That I can share your experience is very, very wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. It's really,
Please.
We have the same, we are in the same situation, completely the same situation.
Yeah.
What we do is when we are in really good times, we read techniques and strategies to help us during the bad times.
Mm.
When we're in good times, we communicate as much as possible.
Yeah.
As to talk about the bad times. And then when we go back into the bad times, we have more techniques and tools and methods and development to go back into the good times quicker. So it's time in conflict and more time in harmony, in unity.
Yeah.
And like you say, nightmare gets shorter and dream gets bigger. But it's a cycle of process of communication and connection, and I always say to Dina, I'm very connected. I always say to her, don't forget this feeling.
Yeah.
Don't forget this. Don't forget this feeling. Don't.
Yeah.
Don't forget this feeling. This is the feeling. This is the feeling. This is the feeling. This is the feeling. Because if we can remember and hold this feeling for as long as we can, when we are in a moment of energy block, we can still remember the feeling underneath. We can still remember the feeling underneath all of it. And I find in my experience, I find it easier than Dina sometimes. And can you still hear me?
I hear you, yeah, but the picture is a bit not so good. The connection is just.
Yeah.
I hear you, and I see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. One thing I find is sometimes when Dina is triggered or in a bad emotional, mental position energetically, it's not very beneficial for me to feel enthusiastic, passionate, and loving. Sometimes when I feel very happy and loving and energetic, she does not like that because of what she is experiencing. And I have to become silent. I have to become silent, and I have to empathize and listen to her without trying to inspire her and without trying to cheer her up, without trying to remind her of the beauty of existence. And I just have to sit with her in her pain and hold her and just allow her to be in her pain. And this has taken me many years to get right, because she will be very sad and depressed and upset, and I'll be like, life is amazing, life is incredible, like, wow, I feel so free and wonderful. And she's just like, she's not feeling the same. And I have to stop acting passionately and just come down and 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 just hold her, or just listen to her, or run her a bath, or make some food, and just bring my energy down, 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 down. I still feel amazing, but I just don't express the amazingness because it's not the right time to do that. I used to believe that if I acted energetically, then I would bring her on the journey with me, and she would break out of her program and be like, wow, you're right, it is amazing, how amazing is this experience? But that doesn't work. I have to it doesn't work that way. You have to see them, you have to be relatable and be human, be a human being, and not act
Yeah,
divine,
I
and you
mean,
have to act like
you can say a lot to someone who is in an energy, but the energy is so strong that there is no the energy has to be freed. It's like it's the same also with me or with Petra. When I am in a strong energy of depression, of not good, of etc. etc., there is nothing that brings me up when I hear the words. It's I have to relieve the energy, and it's more like a provocation or something. The feeling when somebody is telling you, oh, everything is so good and da da da, it's like, what do you want from me? I feel shitty. Yeah.
it's true. It's very true. It's in the moments of despair, it doesn't matter what somebody says to you. They're just, it just goes in and comes out.
Yeah.
It's just about releasing energy. That's really all it is.
Yeah.
It's trapped. It's trapped in the body. It's trapped in the mind. And it's the more you open your heart and you expand, these energies, they have to be released somehow. They have to be released. Otherwise, you just get stuck. So finding methods and techniques to release energy is, I use sound. I use sound healing. I have this is my favorite thing in the world. This is the best thing. This is if I play this for 45 minutes and I just hold it on different parts of my body, within 45 minutes, I feel amazing. I feel, if I'm in a low vibration, this brings me back. This brings me back to, I hold it here, I hold it here, I hold it here, I hold it on all the energy centers of my body, I hold it on my hands. And sound is vibration, and vibration is energy, and energy is in the body. And it's just so simple and so clear to me how we can use sound to heal us. Another thing, I'm a musician, so I've always played guitar, I've always sung, I've always played piano and all these wonderful instruments. So another part of my calling, another part of my purpose is to use sound to heal. I know that. I just have to apply myself. Application.
Yeah, there are many ways, and it's always, yeah, also a journey to find out at what time which is the right one, huh?
That's right, yeah. And there's no rush. There's no pressure to when that happens. Yeah. I could be 60 years old and start a sound healing practice. If that is the time that I have to do that, that's the time I have to do that. Right now, I'm just healing. I'm healing. I'm in a moment, I'm in a really beautiful space of healing, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm healing and working and studying and learning and developing and growing, and that's what I need to do right now. That's what I'm doing right now. So it feels nice. It feels nice not to rush. It's been really wonderful speaking to you.
Yeah, it was really good. Thank you so much, Chris.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. So this was a wonderful meeting of us, talking about so big and great, yeah, of life itself, yeah, of consciousness, of money, of relationship, of finding to yourself. Everything was in it, and yeah, I hope that we connect, that we share our great vision, and yeah, hope to see you soon.
We will.
Thank you very much, Chris. I will now stop the recording. Do you want to say
You're
something?
welcome. It's been a pleasure. Sending
Bye, Chris.